Before I begin, I would like to remind all participants and audience to switch off your microphone and camera to prevent any noises. So for participants, you would only have to turn on your camera and microphone when you are presenting. Okay. Now, as it is 9 p.m., we shall start our book review event. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I bid to Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I bid to Puan Wan Norizan binti Wan Mansur, Deputy Chief Librarian of Pita Negeri Sembilan, Puan Rabita binti Rauzan, Senior Librarian of Perpustakaan Tun Abdul Razak, Pita Rembau, Madam Siti Khairiah binti Nordin, Madam Sufi Rabia Adawiyah binti Idris, Sir Muhammad Faizal bin Muhammad Ramzi, Lecturers of Faculty of Information Management of UiTM Rembau, staffs of Pita Rembau, participants and fellow audiences. First and foremost, I would like to thank you all for making your way to spend your time tonight for this live book review event. Okay, so what is a book review event? So a book review, or in Malay, we will call it ulasan buku, is a form of literary criticism in which a book is analysed based on content, style and merit. So each participant will present a book that they deem to be motivational and should be shared to others, no matter what type of text it is. So for tonight, we have a few participants with us that will review a book each. So, without any further delay, I would like to call upon Mr. Ahmad Shafi, our first presenter for tonight, to review his book. So please, Mr. Shafi.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can you guys hear me? Boleh dengar tak? Okay. Boleh dengar? Betul sekali ya? Okay. Untuk review hari ini, saya akan mereview sebuah buku yang bertajuk Tenggelamnya Kapal Vendevik, hasil sebuah karya Buya Hamka. Jadi, nervousnya. Buku ni dia menceritakan seorang pemuda yang bernama Zainuddin. Dia lupa. Ini dia buku dia. Lupa buat pasal review. Ni buku dia. So antara karya Hamka yang terbaik. So buku ini dia banyak mengetengahkan isu-isu yang banyak di Indonesia ketika itu, terutamanya Minangkabau, isu Minangkabau, iaitu mereka menggunakan adat. Yes, mereka lebih kesukuan mereka lagi banyak. So jadi antara yang banyak memberi influence dalam buku ini. So cerita dia mengenai kisah seorang pemuda nama Zainuddin, iaitu orang Makassar, tapi ibunya seorang Minangkabau. So dia telah jatuh cinta pada seorang perempuan bernama Hayati. Oleh kerana Zainuddin bukanlah orang bersuku, dia bukan orang Minangkabau yang asli. Dia kiranya dia bersuku lah, kira bukannya original bukan original dari Minangkabau sendiri. So oleh kerana itu dia dihalau oleh orang sana. Lupa nama kampung tu. So cerita dah agak sedih. Actually dah ada adapt pada movie. Dan saya tengok dan baca kedua-dua sumber, iaitu buku dan juga movie. Ada dia punya beza dia, tapi apa yang dia ketengahkan ialah bagaimana Zainuddin daripada seorang yang tidak banyak apa-apa menjadi seorang penulis yang amat ternama, tersohor. Antara karya dalam cerita ni, Zainuddin telah menerbitkan buku yang bertajuk Terusir. Dia lebih kepada bagaimana menggunakan pengalaman dia dalam kehidupan untuk kehidupan dia yang bercinta yang gagal itu. So bukan menangis. Jadi buku ni motivate saya. Bukanlah motivate, dia memberi saya impak kerana pernah beberapa kali gagal dalam bercinta. So jadi buku ini telah beri banyak bantulah dalam menyedar saya bahawa kita semua tak sempurna dalam hidup. Mungkin kita berusaha untuk dapat seseorang, tetapi pada akhirnya mungkin dia kembali pada kita, tapi kita kalau jika kita tidak menghargainya semula, jadi ia akan jadi perkara yang akan buat kita menyesal semua hidup. So antara nilai dia lah. So antara quote yang digunakan dalam buku Tenggelam Kapal Pendapat ialah satu lain tu iaitu, demikianlah perempuan. Dia hanya ingat kekejamannya kepada dirinya. Walaupun kecil, dia lupa kekejaman sendiri kepada orang lain walaupun bagaimana besarnya. So itu antara line yang agak mendalam kerana ada satu scene dalam movie, dalam buku sekali, dia bagaimana dia menceritakan, dia memberitahu kepada Hayati betapa dia mahu dia dia memberitahu kepada Hayati yang betapa dia sayangkan Hayati, tetapi oleh kerana apa yang berlaku pada diri dia, apa yang Hayati buat padanya, dia tidak lagi mahu ni, walaupun dia ada hati pada Hayati sebenarnya. So jadi ada apa persoalan? Kalau soalan boleh tanya, boleh type. So ini adalah buku dia. Movie dia boleh tengok dekat Astroforce ada, tak tahu ada ke tak. Sini buku dia. Dan saya boleh bagi cadangan lain, antara karya-karya lain daripada Hamka ialah ada satu. Ya Allah, mana? Ada buku lain yang hasil dia juga, iaitu Di Bawah Lindungan Kaabah, antara salah satu daripada karya Hamka. So saya bukanlah minat sangat Hamka, saya bukan minat Hamka, tapi dia punya gaya penulisan dia amat bagus. Mungkin bahasa Indonesia dan bahasa Malaysia tak ada beza. Mungkin penggunaan bahasa dalam bahasa Malaysia unik, dan penggunaan bahasa klasik ada dalam buku ni, kerana buku ni terbitkan pada tahun 1939, terbitan pertama, dan terbitan kedua dicetakkan semula pada 1949, 10 tahun selepas penerbitan pertama buku itu. Yes, betul tak? Semasa menghidupkan. Ya, memang menghidupkan. Saya pun terharu dan sedih. Kalau tengok movie dia, memang saya akan ingatlah dia punya line quote, line daripada Zainuddin kepada Hayati tu. Yes, dia memang dengar macam menyentuh perasaan. Saya nak menangis pun saya tak tiap menangis. Menangis pun boleh lah menangis cerita ni. So saya nak bagi spoiler, so kalau boleh tolong carikan buku ni. So buku ni telah diterbitkan di Malaysia bawah PTS Publishing House. Terbalik kitaan. So saya harap anda boleh mencari buku ni untuk baca. Kalau tak nak baca, mungkin boleh tengok dekat movie dia, Tenggelam Kapal Pendapat. Tapi saya rasa better baca kedua-dua sekali. Dua sumber, iaitu movie dan juga penulisan, kerana mungkin buku lebih detail daripada movie, kerana movie dia lebih pada penggarapan cerita, iaitu penggarapan cerita, macam mana dia nak masukkan ke dalam buku ni, how do you adapt the book from book to a silver screen. Tapi buku lebih detail, dia lebih teknikal, dari segi teknikal dia akan lebih banyak. So beza dia, banyaklah beza dia daripada buku. Ada punya, mungkin dalam movie penghujung dia berbeza, tapi dalam buku penghujungnya berbeza, kerana penghujung dia dia extra sikit, dalam cerita dia extra sikit supaya kita tengok perakhiran pada Zainuddin selepas kematian hayati ketika kapal Van der Wijk tenggelam. Aku nak bagi spoiler ke kan. So minta maaf kalau bagi spoiler. So rasanya cukup kot saya ingin review hari ni. So kita review kita. Ini dia, saya harap anda boleh enjoy. Mungkin saya tak pernah sangat nak buat review, tapi alhamdulillah saya kalau bagi saya rating buku tenggelamnya kapal Van der Wijk ialah overall 9/10 lah. Kalau saya bagi rating tu, kalau yang 10, kalau 5 mungkin 4.0/5 stars. So kira okey lah. Dan nak bagi 5 stars pun macam kita tak sempurna. Situlah. So dah 5 minit kan? Okay, so terima kasih. Ada lagi tak ada kan?
Okay, thank you for the tremendous book review, Mr. Shafi. Okay, next I would like to invite our second presenter, which is Miss Dayang Patricia Farzana, for her to present her book review.
Assalamualaikum to everyone that is in this Google Meet live. Tonight I'm going to review about a book, which is this book, Tangisan Umat by Abid Yu. Okay. The book is published by Transform Publication. Mostly in this book, kenapa dia cakap tangisan umat? Sebabnya dalam buku ni dia menceritakan perkara-perkara yang patut kita tangiskan sebagai seorang umat Islam. Okay, dalam buku ni dia ada cakap maksud dan kenapa dalam Islam sahabat-sahabat menangis, kenapa Rasulullah menangis, dan juga ni dia boleh dikaitkan dengan kehidupan kita sebagai orang Islam, sebab dalam tajuk-tajuk dia ada pasal tangisan tak menunaikan solat, tangisan ketika bertaubat daripada dosa. Jadi dalam buku ni dia ada selitkan macam motivasi untuk jadi seorang Muslim yang lebih baik, dan buku ni juga dia membetulkan persepsi kita sebagai Muslim, kenapa tangisan tu sebenarnya bukan maksudnya kita lemah. Jadi bagi seorang yang selalu fikiran negatif sikit, saya amat suka buku ni sebab dia betulkan balik persepsi saya terhadap kehidupan saya. Sebab bila fikir pasal macam-macam benda, dia amat menyusahkan, tapi bila baca buku ni saya boleh fikir dari segi yang lebih positif. Macam yang kita tahu, Abid Liu adalah seorang pakar motivasi juga. Jadi apa yang dikata dalam ni amatlah merungkai pasal apa benda yang kita patut buat dalam kehidupan kita. Dia ada share juga pasal kisah-kisah Bilal melaungkan azan dan seluruh penduduk Madinah menangis. Jadi dia merungkai kenapa kasih sayang kita terhadap Rasulullah tu boleh buat kita sebab, boleh buat kita nangis. Lepas tu on the last chapter, bab 34, dia kata tangisan mengenang nasib umat akhir zaman. Dalam bab terakhir ni dia banyak memberi potongan-potongan ayat dalam Quran yang explain kenapa dalam umat akhir zaman ni macam-macam benda yang berlaku. Contohnya daripada surah Ali Imran ayat 160, firman dia, jika Allah menolong kamu mencapai kemenangan, maka tidak ada sesiapa pun yang dapat mengalahkan kamu, dan jika dia mengecewakan kamu, maka siapakah yang dapat menolong kamu sesudah Allah. Dan ingatlah kepada Allah, dan juga orang yang beriman itu berserah diri. Jadi buku ni dia amat memberi motivasi dari segi Islamik sebab kadang-kadang kalau kita nak refer dengan kawan, dengan orang-orang lain, mustahil untuk kita dapat nasihat yang sebagus dalam Quran. Okey, itu je dari saya. Terima kasih.
Okay. Thank you for the inspiring review, Miss Dayang. Now, I would like to invite Miss Siti Zubaidah as our third participant for the night.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dengar tak? Ya. Nama saya Siti Zubaidah binti Arif Ismail. Hari ini saya akan mengulas sebuah buku yang bertajuk Mengintai Aku di Neraka. Buku ini telah ditulis oleh Hadi Fayad dan diterbitkan pada tahun 2018 oleh Aikis Tijarah Trading di Pulau Pinang. First, saya sangat suka buku ni. Saya sangat suka pada cover buku ni. Dan di belakang juga ada sinopsis buku ini. Buku ni bermula daripada Alia Kristina ni, dia berhasrat ataupun dia ingin membunuh diri sebab dia putus cinta. Jadi dia pun pergilah ke tebing dan ingin terjun, tetapi tidak jadi kerana ada sesuatu gangguan yang misteri. Dan setelah itu dia pun membuat keputusan untuk murtad ataupun keluar daripada agama dan dia menjadikan kelab malam tu sebagai kiblat baru dia ataupun tujuan hidup dia yang barulah. So dia pun pergilah dekat kelab malam tu. Dekat kelab malam tu dia pun berjumpa dengan seorang lelaki yang separuh badan dia melecur dan dia pun tak tahu kenapa lelaki tu melecur, dan dari situlah bermulanya kisah-kisah yang lebih misteri. Jadi siapa lelaki tu, kisah-kisah yang misteri tu, sehinggalah ada satu bab yang dia seperti berada di neraka. Ada satu bab setengah lah. Tapi kebanyakan dalam ni semuanya mengingatkan kita tentang akhirat. Jadi saya suka buku ni sebab dia kata-kata daripada penulis sendiri sangat mengisahkan. Kisah ini juga adalah kisah benar yang dicampur-campur menjadi sebuah cerita oleh penulis. Hadi Fayad juga ada menulis buku-buku novel lain, novel-novel Islam yang lain seperti Semusim di Bazar, Semusim di Masya, Ketika Azizi Berputus Asa. Buku-buku yang lain tu juga semuanya pernah popular, pernah menjadi bestseller. Jadi Hadi Fayad ataupun Ustaz lebih dikenali Ustaz Hadi ni, saya sangat suka karya-karya dia. Ustaz Hadi juga ada menyarankan kita untuk membaca buku ini sambil mendengar muzik dari YouTube. Jadi lagi buku ini sangat sangat membantu kita dan mengingatkan kita tentang akhirat. Sesungguhnya tak ada apa yang mustahil akan berlaku. Itu semua atas kehendak dia. Kun fayakun, jika Allah takdir untuk dia jadi macam tu, akan jadi juga. Lagi insya. Jadi saya sarankan untuk semua bacalah buku ni. Itu je kot dari saya. Okay. Hai.
Okay. A very inspiring book. a very inspiring book by Miss Siti Zubaida. Thank you, Siti. So, for our next participant, I would like to invite Miss Nazatu Shahira to review her book.
Assalamualaikum. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Alright, Assalamualaikum and good evening everyone. Nama saya Nazatu Shahira, pelajar Part 5 Diploma daripada Fakulti Maskom, Jabatan Rembau. Okay, so untuk hari ini I will be doing a review on a book called When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi. So, okay, what this book is about. This is a memoir. It's a non-fiction book written by Paul Kalanithi, who is a neurosurgeon that was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer when he was at the peak of his career. Alright, so alright, in this book, it basically talks about his journey going into medicine, becoming a neurosurgeon from his undergraduate years all the way until his residency. When he was diagnosed, dia dah ada dekat dia punya 6th year of residency, meaning he was almost finished, not quite there yet. But kalau macam neurosurgeon, which is becoming a pakar lah, he was already accomplishing a lot from his years as a student, as a normal doctor, apa semua tu. But like I said, when he was almost done with his residency, he was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. Now, this book was published 8 months after he passed away. So yes, he did die in the book. It's not a spoiler. Alright, because it's a memoir, so this book basically talks about his life. So I would be talking a lot about his life lah. So what's interesting about this book is that knowing Paul himself, he is a person who's very passionate about education, about learning. So before he becomes a doctor, he actually did his undergraduate studies in literature first, in English literature. So while he was doing that, he was always obsessed with like finding out the answer to the meaning of life. So he was like, yeah, he wants to know the meaning of life in a way, you know, being philosophical and stuff. So, but then it didn't end there. While knowing about life in terms of languages, he also wanted to know in terms of science. So what he did was he also studied neuroscience as an undergraduate. So he did a double degree. So while he was learning the meaning of life in the pages of books, in meanings of other people, he was also able to learn about life in the perspective of like how your brain works. So, which is always very interesting. So yeah, he's always been like, you can say obsessed with finding out the meaning of life. And when he was diagnosed, it's as if he was put in a position where he was forced to know the meaning of life in the face of death. All right, so there he was at the peak of his career, but then halfway through, not even halfway through, he was almost at the end of it where he was diagnosed. He had very little time. In fact, the book is worse. He didn't manage to finish the manuscript, which is what makes it so authentic, that he didn't quite finish the book. But then because he didn't finish it, I think what he wrote in the book was always the things that he prioritizes most. And yeah, which is, I think, why makes it very important, I think, for me in terms of how I see the book. It's a very short book, as you can tell. It's a fast-paced read. You can dive into it like as quick as possible. And because he's a very talented writer as well as a neurosurgeon, you would know that he's a very smart man. And what he like, he has a way with words lah. You can say that. Yeah. So basically the book is about his life and how he sees it since he was small, up to his like study years, and then his search of like meaning of life, death, mortality, and what makes life meaningful. Okay, and then the book ends. sorry. And the book ends with an epilogue written by his wife. So he was married. His wife was pregnant. So when he didn't finish the book, his wife take the initiative to write an epilogue just to finish it and like in a way sums it all together, and that makes it even more sad because it was written in her perspective, talking about how he spent his last few days writing the book, writing about life. So yeah, do I recommend the book? I recommend it to a lot of people, especially siapa yang teringin nak try baca non-fiction or teringin nak baca English novels. It's short book, dia senang nak get into. And then yeah, I guess that's why I like it, because saya suka dengar pasal his passion for knowledge. Dia suka belajar English, dia suka, and that macam in a way boleh relate lah dengan diri saya sebab saya pun suka language. At the same time saya suka science juga, so tapi dia macam extra lah. So yeah, I guess that's the end of my review. I would give it a 5 star because it's my first memoir, it's my first non-fiction, and I like it. Alright, thank you so much. If you have any question, thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Okay, thank you, Miss Nazato. I see it's a very fantastic book you got there. Okay, now moving on to our next participant, I would like to invite Miss Nurul Hamizah to review her book.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Hamizah binti Hamzah. I'm from Faculty Science, Computer and Mathematics. Okay. First of all, today I will do a book review called The King Mistress by Gillian Bagwell. Yeah. Okay, so first of all, buku ni bukanlah macam buku-buku ilmiah lain yang macam participant lain yang di-review, sebab the genre is romance, fantasy and historical, tapi dalam buku ni ada banyak moral yang boleh dipelajari. Okay, so for the story, the book is about a young wife, Emma, who just lost her husband due to car accident. So she cannot accept his death and has been isolated herself in her room for a week, barely eat and sleep. So one day, after a long night's sleep, she suddenly wake up to a different room, different place. She actually was transferred to another parallel world where it was like an ancient time, where there is a war fighting for the territories, and the country where she transferred were ruled by king, whose face, name and figure are just look exactly the same as a late husband. So the story is about Emma trying to investigate how she suddenly come to another world and the mystery of the king that look exactly like her late husband by being his mistress. Okay, so from so far what I've learned from this story is we need to treasure our family, whether it's your mother, husband, wife or children, by treating them well with love while they're still alive. This is because in this story, Emma regretted that she never treated her husband well while he's being alive, and started to realize how all the things that her husband did in the past was all for her sake, only after he's dead. So when he's dead, next, I've learned this when Emma isolated herself in the room, grieving for her late husband, and that makes her health condition worse because she didn't eat, she have lack of sleep. So by grieving on the dead won't give any benefit, nor the dead won't come back to the life again. So try to move on and keep with the grief and learn to heal. Life must keep moving forward. Okay. Then in this story, the king was very well respected by his people in the country for his intelligence and was feared by the enemies on how well can he handle all the problems during the war. So as to being a good leader, one must be very intelligent and not being greedy. To be, being fair, be concerned with the surrounding and people being, and be a good strategist by knowing how the enemy is thinking for the counter attack. Okay, so then for also when Emma got the second chance to love her husband again in the parallel world, which is the current king, by doing and appreciate the things that she didn't do when she was with her late husband on real life. She got the second chance. So there is never too late. While there is a chance, then there is a hope. So for me, this book not really taklah tebal mana. This is a good for those who really love fantasy and historical. I really like this book. For me, it's 9/10. So that's all for me. That I thank you.
What an incredible book. Thank you, Miss Hamiza. Okay, now I would like to invite our next participant. Please welcome Miss Nurul Aini to present her book review.
Assalamualaikum. Okay, my name is Nurul Aini. Does everyone can hear me? Okay. So my name is Nurul Aini and I am a final year student of UiTM Shah in degree of English for Professional Qualification. The book that I'm going to review today is the book What I Know For Sure by Oprah Winfrey. So this is more of an inspirational book that talks about her life, talks about whatever that she learned throughout her whole life. And why I would want to review this book is because it's a book that made me really think. I've always collected a lot of fiction books, so books about adventures, books about actions, but I rarely actually collect inspirational books, and this is actually a gift from a very good friend of mine, which I really thank her for that. Thank you. So what I want to start with talking about this book is that upon seeing the title, the few things that I could actually remember like from now, what I know for sure is that like to start off simple, what I know for sure is that this book is written. What I know for sure is that I am 23 and I am finishing my degree. And start off simple, start off thinking the very simple things that you can know for sure right now. Like how many siblings you have, what's your favorite color, what's your favorite food, the very little things first. And then starting off with the book, in the very early part, in the introduction part, talks about how Oprah actually interviewed a film critic, and then the film critic himself, asked her, so tell me, what do you know for sure? And this actually made her really think, like, what does she know for sure? And it was for someone like her who had, it's actually talked in the book that she has anxiety and she has problems with being lonely, being by herself and not knowing who to trust. So being asked this question was very private to her. And this made her really think, like, what does she know for sure? And basically the book talks about whatever that she thinks for sure and whatever that she can remember throughout her whole life and from what she encounters in her daily life. And one of the things that really stood out to me was when she met someone and the person told her to actually visualize her home. And if you can do this with me right now, try to just like close your eye for 10 seconds and imagine a home, your own home that symbolizes yourself, that signify yourself as a person. And after you've symbolized the home, like in the actuality, try going closer to the home and peek through the window just to see what's the inside of the house. If it's a very lively house, a very colorful house, if it's consists of the people that you love, the people that you treasure, then that can be deduced that you're a very like loved person, someone that is very appreciative of the people around you, and like you don't necessarily feel alone. But what Oprah did when she actually visualized that is that the house that she made, that she actually created, was very I would say empty, because she word it as lonely. When she looked at her own house, she saw it as a lonely house. There was no one there. It was empty. It was there were barely any life in the house. So that was something that is very like kind of like make you really think that even though she's this very big name person, she's very rich, she's very known all over the world, but she's someone who is lonely and she doesn't have that much friends. And it's all talked in the book. And some of the topics that she touched about is that how she knows that time is not constant, how she knows that she can only trust several people in her own life, and she knows that um, she has always been played in her whole life. She's never had a very stable relationship in the past, and she was always played by males, and she couldn't trust anyone. That made her really think of uh, how to actually overcome that, and her anxiety didn't actually make that better. So some of the advices that she got from her friends, she actually included in the book, and what happened during the time that she was trying to find herself, during the time that she was trying to get over and getting to know what she knows for sure. And what she actually does is that once she started thinking about what she knows for sure, which is quite early in after she was asked the question, she kept a gratefulness book where she would almost every day she would write down at least one thing that she is most grateful for. It could be either like, oh, I wake up today, which means that you're alive, and you're alive and you're well and you're still living. You can still make your day better and yourself better in a way. It can be anything, like you have uh, a book of about how you had the best ice cream day today, you had the best food today, you had the best day today, you saw the prettiest cloud. It can be about anything. So what I would say is that for anyone who wants to find out uh, like find your purpose in life, to find yourself in life, and this is a book that is like perfect for you, because it makes you really think and makes you really compare of how your life is and how her life is in the book, and how you should see things in a better way, and how you should see things even though things are not really going well. You should always try to actually be in the moment, that okay, no, now is not the good time, but tomorrow might be a good time for you. So that's all I have to say about the book. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Well, there was a well-written masterpiece, and also a well-review by Miss Nurul. Thank you. So now I would like to invite Miss Shazani Iman as our seventh participant for tonight. You can start now.
Can you hear me? Wait, I'm having something going on. Sorry. Can everybody see me? All right. Okay. Thank you. I'm so sorry for delaying. Okay. So basically what I'm going to talk about today is my book, The Timekeeper. I did not bring my book because I left it at home. I can't really see it. It's by Mitch Albom. Mitch Albom is basically one of the, for me, it's one of the best author that I know because he is also known for his books such as Tuesday with Maury, his books like One More Day. Basically, Mitch Albom, um, he talks about life, he talks about the meaning of life and everything. So the book that I am going to review today is The Timekeeper. So basically, The Timekeeper is the story about a person who is called the Father Time because he basically invented the clock. So Mitch Albom, he described this Father Time as someone who found a way to measure the time. So basically, when he measured the time, he was called the Father Time. So the story starts in the beginning as Father Time, he was trapped in a cave, or he was put away in the cave because he was punished. He was punished because he invented the clock time. So when he was trapped in the cave, he had to listen to all the complaints about the people who were complaining about not enough time, the people who want more time, the people who want to end their time. So what captures me the most is how Mitch Albom explains that there are people around the world that have different perspective about time. So it all starts when the Father Time, he was trapped and he had to escape by having to save these two people. One person is a girl named Sarah. This Sarah is a girl who wanted to end her life. So basically, she did not want to have her time on earth. And another person is called this more like an old guy. He wants more time in his world. He has cancer and he wants to be able to have more time. So basically, the Father Time, he has to help these two individuals to actually realize that they have to appreciate time more rather than actually complaining about what to do with time. So the first one was when he approached the girl named Sarah. This Sarah was depressed because of her love life, and she was like, she wanted to end her life. She wanted to kill herself. Basically, that was it. And she wasn't thinking about her parents. She wasn't thinking about her family. She wasn't thinking about anyone because she was feeling as if time, she wanted to end it quickly. She did not want to live on this earth anymore. So what the Father Time did was he went to this girl and he explained that she could see the future. He gave this kind of wisdom about the future. So he was like, do you want to see what happens when you actually end your life? And she was like, yes. And he showed her how when she ended her life, she ended her time on earth. She was basically forgotten. Like the person who hurt her absolutely forgot about her, and her mom turned out to be sad and depressed even more. So basically, she wasn't really doing things for her own self. She was basically making things worse. So that was what Father Time made her realize. So the second person is the person who wanted more time on earth, which is an old guy who had cancer, and he wanted to freeze himself, something more like Captain America. He wanted to freeze himself so that he could wake up in another year or another decade about having more time. But then when the Father Time came, he explained that, oh, the plan of yours isn't actually gonna work. It's not gonna work because something is going to happen that makes that machine that he wants to go in, it's gonna be broken, and therefore he will just end his life like that. It's absolutely, it's kind of, it makes you realize how you should appreciate time. Okay, so Mitch Albom, the author, he is really he's really good in delivering the meaning of life. So he makes you realize like, bam, oh, so you have to appreciate your time. You have to appreciate the things that you do in your everyday life, and you can't think only about yourself. You have to also think about the people who are who are with you, your mom, your dad, and the way that he writes, it's very beautiful. He uses short and precise sentences, but actually clear sentences that makes you want to flip the pages even more. So basically, that is why I love Mitch Albom. He is one of my favorite author. So if it is a really good recommendation, I would give it a solid 10/10. I think every book of his I would give more like 9/10 or 10/10 because it's Mitch Albom. He can write about anything and have you realize that, oh, I've been doing things the wrong way. I've been doing things that make other people hurt and not even been thinking about myself. So I think that is why I chose this book, because I really want other people, everyone, to read this book because of how good and excellent it is. So thank you. That is all.
Thank you, Ms. Shazwani, for your wonderful review. Honestly, I like that book too. Okay, so next we proceed to our next participant, which is Mr. Amir Amri. So, okay.
Assalamualaikum and a very good night, evening, whatever. Okay, my name is Amir Amri bin Shaharudin from Diploma of Accountancy, UiTM Malacca. The book that I will reviewing tonight called Becoming Steve Jobs. It's a really big book. Okay, Becoming Steve Jobs. The evolution of a reckless upstart into a visionary leader by Brent Slender and Rick Tazzilli. Alright. So this book is a biography of Steve Jobs, the well-known Apple founder, the one who considered as a tech god in the technology community. And this book tells us about how he managed the Apple company, how he managed his life, what's going on in his life during the period of when he created Apple up until he passed away in 2011, caused by pancreatic cancer. So what's the difference between this book and every other book about Steve Jobs? Is the author, the author Brent Slender, is acknowledged by Steve Jobs himself as one of his closest friends or closest journalists to him, because in this book it was told, the author told the reader that not many journalists have the courage, have the guts, have the patience to do an interview with Steve Jobs, but not Brent Slender. Brent Slender is really a guy who wants to know more about technology, about how technology will evolve in 10 years, 20 years. And this makes Steve Jobs really like him as a journalist who really appreciate the technology community. And Brent Slender been friends with the late Steve Jobs for 25 years. And during those 25 years, he worked as a journalist in the Wall Street Journal, and that makes him and that helps the Wall Street Journal to actually boost its sales because of how Brent Slender write about Steve Jobs in those interviews. So, and also, even the Apple Inc. Corporation, even the Apple Inc. considered this is the best book if you want to know Steve Jobs as a person, because this is the most honest book by any writer, because it was written by one of his close friends. And probably like why we want to know about Steve Jobs. Well, Steve Jobs considered for me lah, he considered as a revolutionary in the tech community on how he created the first family-friendly computer back in the year 84, the Macintosh, and then how he revolutionized the music industry with the invention of iPod in 2001, and also how he made the mold of nowadays the most important technology or electronic thing in nowadays, which is the phone, the smartphone. How he made a mold by creating the iPhone back in 2007. So Steve Jobs really contributed a lot of things in the tech community, in the tech evolution during these 40 years. And I think everybody should read this book if you want to know more about Steve Jobs and how he managed Apple Inc. and how he managed his life. Like, he was probably not many of you know, he was once fired by Apple, his own company, back in the year I'm not really sure. I think it's 86. He was fired by Apple, and then he bought a company called Next and makes the one of the most well-known OS, Unix OS, that is used in, if I'm not mistaken, in ATM. And Unix is made by Steve Jobs himself because of how he wanted to upgrade the Macintosh but failed, so he bought a new company and tried to fight Apple. So that shows us that how Steve Jobs is determined. When you have a goal, just go for it. Any obstacle in your life, just go for it. You know, just handle it with professional. And Steve Jobs did that very, very well. Like, as he was fired, and then he owned the company of Next, and then because of that, Apple rehired him the next year because of how he can impact the technology advancement at the moment. And also, Steve Jobs is a really, really important people bit in the animation part, as he owned 50% of Pixar, and he was the CEO back at the time before he was re-selected as the CEO of Apple in the year 96, if I'm mistaken. So that's the moral value, or what I've learned is you have to focus on your dreams. Just go for your dreams, focus, and do whatever it takes to be the person you vision to be. So people respect you and will remember you as someone really important. So I think that's all. Thank you.
Yet another wonderful book has been introduced to us. Thank you, Mr. Amirul. So now we have our very own Mr. Aris Hazaril from Faculty of Information Management to review a book.
Okey, Assalamualaikum dan selamat sejahtera kepada moderator Kak Khalida, para staf PITA dan juga para pensyarah dikasihi. Nama saya Aris Hazaril, merupakan pelajar semester 2, degree in IM 244. Okey, sorry saya agak nervous. Okey, hari ini saya akan buat book review. Buku yang saya pilih adalah Hikayat Nabi Yusuf. Boleh tengok tak? Okey. Buku yang saya pilih ni adalah Hikayat Nabi Yusuf yang telah dikarang oleh Muhammad Labai dan diterjemahkan ke dalam ni oleh Arsha Mukhtar. Okey, sebelum saya mula, eloklah kita fahami tentang hikayat itu sendiri. Dalam tradisi bangsa Melayu umumnya, hikayat berasal daripada bahasa Arab yang bermaksud cerita. Kerana itu kita dapati sesebuah hikayat biasanya dimulai dengan kata konon, dikonon orang, atau kata sahibul hikayat dan yang sejenisnya. Ini perlu dijelaskan agar tidak ada yang menerima bulat-bulat juga tidak menolak mentah-mentah. Okay. Kebiasaan hikayat memang bercampur aduk antara kisah yang benar dan kisah yang rekaan. Okey, kenapa saya pilih buku ni? Kisah Nabi Yusuf AS memang masyhur seperti yang terdapat dalam Al-Quran dan juga kitab-kitab Kristian dan Yahudi. Selain itu, hikayat juga kelihatannya menyesuaikan latar kisah dengan suasana tempatan seperti nasi sebagai makanan harian atau makanan ruji dan juga harimau menggantikan serigala. Okay. First, kenapa saya pilih buku ni? First, penterjemah telah merujuk dua manuskrip yang ada, iaitu manuskrip British Library yang berusia 1800 sebelum Masihi dan juga manuskrip Harvard yang berusia 1836 Masihi. Tetapi penterjemah telah memilih manuskrip British Library kerana ia lebih tua daripada manuskrip Harvard. Okey, yang kedua pula ialah dia juga membuat perbandingan kisah Nabi Yusuf dalam Al-Quran dan juga Bible. Al-Quran tidak menceritakan dengan terperinci watak-watak, bahkan tidak pun menyebut nama-nama yang terlibat. Apa yang dipentingkan adalah pengajaran di sebalik kisah Nabi Yusuf ni. Manakala di dalam Bible pula, dalam bahagian Old Testament, ia mengisahkan dengan lebih terperinci. Misalnya nama-nama watak yang terlibat dalam kisah Nabi Yusuf ni. Okay. Saya pun tak berapa nak pandai buat review, tapi saya cuba. Kisah hikayat Nabi Yusuf ni, dia menceritakan tentang hikayat Nabi Yusuf sebelum maksudnya dia cerita sebelum Nabi Yusuf menerima wahyu daripada Tuhan. Dia menceritakan tentang riwayat hidup daripada Nabi Yusuf muda sampailah Nabi Yusuf wafat. Okey. Buku ini telah diterbitkan oleh buku fiksi. And then kopi ni dah tak publish lagi sebab dia keluar dalam limited copy. So untuk pelajar IM244 amat digalakkanlah untuk membaca. And then untuk pelajar lain juga. And then manuskrip hikayat ni kita boleh tengok dia punya tulisan asalnya daripada bahasa Jawi lama. So agak susah untuk kita sekarang untuk menterjemahkan semula ke dalam Serumi sebab dia menggunakan bahasa Jawi lama. So untuk pelajar IM244 yang mana ambil kos yang semua tu memang agak susah lah untuk try translate hikayat ni ke dalam bahasa Melayu. So saya rasa itu je kot saya punya book review. Minta maaf sebab saya pun tak berapa pandai book review. Alright, thank you.
Alright. Okay, brilliant, Mr. Arish. Thank you. So now, we will welcome our last minute participant, Miss Siti Nurhanim.
Hi. Can anyone hear me? I hope you can. My name is Siti Nurhanim Muhammad Noor, and I am from Part 4 IM244 from UiTM Rembau. This is a very last minute joining. I do not know why I have this sudden urge to join. Maybe because seeing you guys, the people before me present, make me like want to share about my thoughts about my favorite book also. So this is my last minute joining. So the book that I want to review today is called Lion by Shaharudin. You can say it as a memoir because like he wrote it himself. It is actually this version is actually published. It was published before as a long way form, a memoir in a different title. So right now it's another version of it called Lion. And now I know why it's called Lion. So I'll get to it. So his name, the author's name is Saru Birli. You can see that it's not an unique American name. He's actually Indian. So the story about Saru Lion, he wrote it in the perspective of him, first person from the author himself. The story is about actually Saru. He was 5 years old. He was from India. He get lost, and somehow he reached into the other part of the world. I mean, he was from India, but right now he's Australian. He identified himself as an Australian. So how can an Indian suddenly identify himself as an Australian? So it starts when he actually grows up in a very small poor town in India. Actually, he got like barely any shelter. He got like minimum amount of food. He got like a lot of siblings. Actually, he got like brothers and sisters, a baby sister even. He came from a broken family. His dad and his mom came from different religions, so that just did not actually match well at the time. So like his mom works. He got a baby sister. He was like barely 5 years old, and he has to take care of his baby sister, while his older brothers have to go to work. And by I say how to go to work, is actually they were barely 15. They were in India, a poor part in India. So the way when they say like they're going to work is actually them jumping from train to train, selling stuff that they found there to anyone that is trying to buy them. So it starts when he was barely 5 years old. Sorry, I just keep reading the comments, so I got nervous. Okay, he was barely 5 years old, and one day he wanna follow his brother to work, which is jumping from train to train, and he went there without telling his mom, and just only his one brother knows it, and he follows that brother. And jumping from train to train, he got tired. He fell asleep on one train, and the thing that he doesn't know is actually that short nap that he thought it is a short nap, it turns out to be like hours long. So basically, it's like he woke up on the train with his brother not inside, no one inside. He's alone at the train, and when he jumped off, he doesn't know where he is. Basically, he's still in India, but he doesn't know what part it is. And Saru, he got no education. He doesn't even know his own name. He called himself Saru, but actually Saru is not his real name. That's what people call him. So he's been jumping from train to train, trying to find way back home, and he walks here and there, and there's a journey actually. This is actually about his journey. I think several chapters from the part of this book is about when he was 5, what happens to him. Like, he almost got kidnapped, he almost died and everything, but he just want to go home. That's what he does. And he's barely 5. So, he's like, he just do what a 5-year-old do. He just walks. He walks there, he walks here, he jump there, he jump here, he plays a little bit, he asks for people. He can't even ask for people for his home. He doesn't know where he lives. So it's like, it's kind of frustrating, because I want this kid to be safe, but I don't know how to help him because it's a memoir, it's already happened. So it turns out like he ended up at a safe place somewhere. I'm not going to tell you, you have to find it out yourself. He ended up somewhere. And okay, this starts getting me emotional actually. He got adopted. He got adopted by an Australian. And at that time, it was a very hard process for others to actually adopt from other country, but he got through it, and the story just goes on well. It's like he grows up well in an Australian household, and he got education, he lives well with his family. Also, he barely knows how to talk because he got no education when he was little, he didn't go to school. So suddenly when he got adopted at Australia, he got moved to Australia, and he have to learn English and live in a whole other ways. But he does it well actually. Like he survived. That's why he wrote this book. And after a few years, it's about maybe he's in his 20s, I guess. He started to find his way back home. He wanted to know where he came from. Like, what is his origin? Like, he wanted to know about his siblings. Like, he got his brothers, he got his baby sister that he left behind, he got his broken mom and family. So he just wanted to know what happens to them suddenly. And I was like, you have lived a long life, you have lived a happy life, why do you want to go back to your past? Like, that's not something what I would do actually, but just keep reading it. And at that time, the internet is not very convenient. Actually, it's not very good. I don't know how to say it, but it's not very it's not something that you can rely on. It's very bad. And the thing, how he seeks for his past, how he seeks for his old home in India, he go to Google Map. So he used Google Map with like very slow internet connection, because at that time like very fast speed internet connection is very hard to get. So but that's the only thing he can do. That's the only thing like he can, he can think of. So he goes to Google Map. He sees Google Map. It takes months. He retracks back. Like he only remembers a bit of it, because like he was 5 when he got lost, right? So there's only like a little bit of here and there of, he doesn't even know where he was at that time, because like he doesn't know how to read, he doesn't know how to talk, he was illiterate. So he just goes to Google Map and just like when click here, click there, and he found the rail tracks and he followed them, and it took months and a lot of loading. He almost gave up actually. He gave up a lot of times actually, and like he doesn't even know why he do it. Like why is he seeking back his past? I don't even know why, but he just did it. And he went to Facebook. He just asked for random Indians like the possibility of his home, and it takes months. And of course, he found it with help from the other Indians. So he got the location and such and such. And so the later part of the book is actually about him thinking, should he go back there or shouldn't he? Because he came from a poor family, so should he seek back his past, because he was in a very bad place right now. And okay, here's a bit spoiler. He did. He went back there, and he found his family back. And the sad part is like his mom waited for him at the very same spot. Although the house is barely a shelter. They should move out. Actually, it's not even a shelter. She should go to a better place, but she waited for him there, just because he knows that she knows he will come back. Also, it's been almost like 20 years or something. So yeah, this book was like, I think recently published. I think it's still recent actually, because it was published in a movie at 2016. So I think it's still recent. And how is it now? Okay, back to it. He went to his family, and what makes me like very emotional is that his family waited for him. And when how to say, it's like, when he got lost, he went with his brother. Something happened to his brother, and I won't tell you what, but something happened to his brother, and this book is actually ended in a cliffhanger. It's not actually a cliffhanger. It's like, you got lost on a train, and then you ended up at like another part of the world. You want to know like what happened at the train, right? Like what train did you get into until you got lost hours away from home? And the point is, he doesn't even know. Until the end of the book, I was like, okay, what happened? What train did you take? What train did you took at that time? And even when he goes back to India as an adult, he tried to retrack back. He get back into the trains, He was like, okay, this is the station that I get into, that I got on, that I fell asleep on. He went there and he jumped trains like he was a child back again. But still, he doesn't know how he ended up at that one particular station that saves his life, that saved him, that, led him to a safe place and get him adopted by Australians. It makes me wonder, like, this book is actually written in the 20th century, and to think that he went back there as an adult and he can still see kids around his train station with no family, no home, still hopping on trains dangerously. You'll see, right, how the trains in the eastern part in India or Bangladesh, how the train works, right? Like, there's a lot of people there, there's a lot of death there. So to think that these kids still went over there and still experienced this, it makes me wonder, like, to think that we thought we have it bad. Like, there's these kids with no shelter and such, jumping from train to train as they are, as a part of their life, just to find food and everything. And I think this book actually makes me think about others, about the people that did not benefit like us. I'm not calling myself beneficial, but people that we never think of. Like, I never think of kids in India. I never why would I think of the kids in India, right? But this book made me think of the situations other kids grow up with. Saru right now, he lived a very normal life. He managed a family business, and people wouldn't even know that he is actually that lost kid from India 5 years ago that just walk, walk and jump from train and suddenly got into Australia. And it really amazed me of what Google Map does. Like, it takes months, but he managed to retrack back his home, his childhood, his past. So I think kudos to Google, because like Google Map really helps him. And this book, why I decided to choose this book apart from any other books, is because actually I was in a slump. I don't want to read. I'm trying to read or something, but I just do not know which book I have to start on to get that spirit back. And I just came across this book, and halfway it hooks me up and makes me like, curious. It sparks inside me. It makes me wonder why I choose to be a person that is associated with books. So I like it because it brings me back why I chose to be in this field actually. So there's actually a major motion picture, a movie. So if you do not want to read it this quick, you can try watch the movie first, Lion. So if you got curious, you can read the book. It's a very good book. I really suggest it. It's about like 9.5 over 100. I mean 9.5 over 10. Sorry, I can't give it 10 marks because I still do not know what happens in the train, because like it got me angry, like cliffhanger, but it still got me excited, So I want you guys to feel excited about this book just like I did, and I want you guys to, experience that emotional part where I start thinking about the things that happen to kids from the other part of the world. So I do not know why am I rambling right now, but yeah, I really suggest this book. So thank you for listening. That's it.
Thank you for your wonderful review, Hanim. So, tonight we have a special appearance from Pita Rembau's 2018 ex-internship student, Mr. Shahmi, to give his book review. Please welcome Mr. Shahmi.
Hello, hai, Assalamualaikum. Semua dengar ke? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat malam. Saya Shahmi, Muhammad Shahmi bin Mat Aziz, student IM 244 UiTM Rembau dan bekas intern di Pita Rembau, UiTM Rembau. So, firstly, I want to thankful to Puan Rabita sebab invite saya untuk mereview buku, tapi saya tak banyak buku dekat rumah. So, saya just review buku komik. Ini is not about buku. So, it is komik. So, dia ada 4 series. Siapa yang tahu buku ni semua maybe dah tua, dah ada anak. So, yeah, this is a non-fiction book. It's published on 2006. 2006 tu saya baru darjah 5. So buku ni memang dah lama, legend. So the publisher is, this book is Gempak Star. So banyak lagi buku Gempak Star dekat rumah. So yalah. Okay, so saya nak cerita sikit pasal buku ni. Buku ni dia ceritakan tentang friendship, family, dia cerita pasal guru, dia cerita pasal how we love animal dan how we love jiran-jiran di sekeliling kita yang mempunyai masalah. Dan it's good book lah, bukan not lah book tapi macam komik yang memberi pengajaran yang banyak. So kenapa kita kena baca buku ni, sebab buku ni ialah sangat mengimbau kenangan-kenangan zaman sekolah. So kalau ada buku ni semua orang nak pinjam. So nasib baiklah saya dapat balik buku empat buku ni. So saya nak buat short je review sebab dah panjang, dah lama. So di kesempatan ini juga saya ingin mengucapkan selamat Hari Guru kepada se-madam yang tengok review ni, Madam Sufi, Sir Faizal, Madam Faraliza, Sir Naim, And of course, my boss dekat Pita dulu, Puan Rita, Encik Hafiz, Encik Syaiful, Encik Azrina, Azrik, Cik Faizal, Cik Malisha, Kak Oli dan Cik Intan. So selamat Hari Guru dan terima kasih kerana mengajar saya seorang manusia yang berjaya gitu. So tak adalah berjaya. So maksudnya saya sekarang menjadi assistant librarian dekat Nilai International School. So saya sayang semua lecturer-lecturer saya dan bos-bos di Pitar yang memberi tunjuk ajar kepada saya. So, selamat Hari Raya, maaf zahir batin dan bye. Bye semua. Thank you so much for inviting me. Bye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for your generous book review, Mr. Shahmi. With Mr. Shahmi as our last participant for the night, our event has come nearly to an end. Okay. All participants and all viewers are welcome to join the ebook book review. So all you have to do is create a review video and share it to your social media and tag us. Don't forget to tag us. Okay, and don't forget to send it at Amazing Reads by 20th May, which is 4 more days. You can win up to 4,000 ringgit. Okay, also, if you have any questions to ask during this pandemic, since we can't go out to the library, feel free to go to our website, PITA website, for chat with librarian to have them answer any question. Okay. 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 So now every book has their own story and each of them contains knowledge like none other. Every book is unique in their own way. I hope everyone gains something tonight, either new books to try or maybe just confidence in coming forward to present yourselves. Once again, I would like to offer my greatest gratitude to everyone for your participations, participants and audiences alike. May you have the best remaining Ramadan and the best Shawwal ahead. With that, thank you and good night, everyone.